Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back once again to the Real Nerdy Review. It's your boy Otis. I'm back with another video again. I'm trying to get caught up on all the movies that I've been missing recently, so I finally get to knock this one off of the list. If you're new to this YouTube channel, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit me where I reach this goal of 1,200 subscribers. And also keep watching my videos because I'm working towards 4,000 watch time hours by the end of this year. So with that being said, let's jump straight into this movie review. Your boy finally got a chance to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. And so, you know what? I'm going to say this, okay? I'm going to say this. I actually enjoyed this movie. Aside from all the jokes and everything, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a lot better to me than the second one. Leaps and bounds better than the second one because it just felt like it was on a completely different level compared to the second film. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. I had to bring my laptop here and bring up the names because I can't remember all the names of the characters. So let me just go ahead and try and get this figured out first. Cassie Lang, okay, has a device that she uses that can basically like map out the quantum realm. And so she uses this device. She shows her dad, who was surprised to know that, she has a suit and that, she had created this device. And so her and the rest of the family all get sucked into the quantum realm. So Cassie and Scott are separated from basically her grandparents and her stepmom, Hope, Hank, and Janet. And Janet's scared as shit to go back to the quantum realm because there's someone down here that she's afraid of, aka calling the Conqueror. But everybody in this universe just calls him the Conqueror. And so, there's events that happen that took place while she was here that also made her afraid. So, getting into it, they get separated. They're dealing with all these different creatures in this weird world because the quantum realm is a world within our world. And so Hank and the rest of the family are trying to get back to Cassie and Scott. And so they meet up with a guy by the name of Lord Kraler, played by Bill Murray, and he's a very I wouldn't say odd character, but he's a very interesting character. A little, there's something about him just kind of off a little bit. But basically, they meet him, and basically, this is where Hank finds out that Janet had a relationship with him because she'd been down there for like 30 years. And so, he's like, look, you brought us what we needed because at the end of the day, you left us here. This is what he's telling to her. And she's like, look, I'm sorry all this stuff happened. I never meant for all this stuff to go down. And, this big fight breaks out. And then Hank, Janet, and Hope, they get away. And so she basically tells him the background story about how she got caught up with King the Conqueror and basically how, when she was with him, she was trying to help him rebuild this multiverse ship that would help him get to different multiverses. She didn't believe it at first, but when she eventually touched it after they got it fixed after so many decades of being stuck down there, she saw what he was before he got banished there. And so she eventually takes the energy orb that gives him the ability to try to go to different multiverses, and she uses her they're almost like quarters that makes people go big or go small. She uses it to shrink down the orb so that he is not able to use it. And so he's stuck there. So he basically creates an army over the years and decades that he's stuck there, and basically just takes over this whole world. And so Scott and Cassie are on another part of the world, and they're trying to get back to their family, but they discover that this world has been pretty much under siege, has been taken over by King the Conqueror, and Cassie wants to help. Scott kind of like, no, let's get back to the family, let's get back to our world, let's get out of here, this ain't our fight. So anyway, getting past a lot of the BS, Scott and Cassie eventually come face to face with King the Conqueror, and he tells Scott, "Look, if you want to save your daughter because he's captured her, you need to go get my orb, bring it back to me." So he goes into the orb, and he shrinks himself down, super small. He gets to the orb, and eventually, like as soon as he gets near it, he starts to split into multiple versions of himself. And eventually, Cassie and her family catch up with him, and she gets into the orb, and the same thing happens to her. They get the orb, they get back up to the main area that they were in the quantum realm, and they have this big fight with King the Conqueror, and it's a cool fight. But there's certain parts in this fight where there's some comedy where there just shouldn't be comedy, like a character Mudok, who was I forgot what this dude's name was. Mudok. I forgot. Darren. Okay, Darren. If y'all don't remember, Darren was the big bad in the first movie. He got stuck in the quantum realm. He eventually turned into Mudok, where his big head stuck in this metal body. And so basically, there's a fight scene where Mudok gets into a fight with Cassie, and Cassie is telling him stop being a dick, but it's kind of like a comedy moment. And to me, there's a little too much comedy littered throughout this movie. Like, I know AntMan is a movie that you take super seriously, but just a little too much comedy, a little too much comedy. So anyway, getting past all that, they eventually kick King's butt with the help of all these different ants that got sucked into the quantum realm at the beginning of the movie. This is like the end of it, where the refugees are fighting up against King's army because he was going to leave the quantum realm after he got what he wanted and go take over the other multiverses by destroying his other versions of his other selves. And so he gets stopped, and King ends up getting like pulled away by the ants. And so everybody else is leaving, Cassie and Hank and all them. Scott gets hit by Kang, and they get into this big fist fight. Kang is whooping his butt. So it wasn't until I think Hope showed up and she starts using the blasters on the wrist to, fend him off. So then they used what left of their little quarter size changing things and attached to the orb. And while they're, hitting King and busting him up, he gets knocked into the orb and he eventually gets sucked in. So I believe he's dead. And they go back to Earth. And so while they're on Earth, Scott is like going through his head, and King the Conqueror said he was their only hope of stopping his other variants. In so many words, if he didn't get out, something was coming. And so, fast forward, there's an end credit scene where you see the other variants are in this arena, and they're talking amongst themselves, and they're like, "Oh, King Conqueror is dead. These people stopped him. If we don't stop them," basically Scott and his family, "they're gonna stop everything that we have built." So one of the variants is like, "Oh, well, how many of us did you call?" And the other variant is like, "Oh, all of us." And that's when you see all these different versions of Kang. And that's the end of the movie. And I gotta say, I like the movie. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it an 8. If there wasn't so much comedy and try to make it jokey, I would definitely probably give it a higher score. But I think 8 works for me. That's just me personally. My personal score. So, with that being said, post your comments down below. I know a lot of you have already seen this movie, so let me know in the comment section what you think about AntMan Quantumania. Again, I'm catching up on a lot of the movies here, so be on the lookout for my next movie review, which either going to be John Wick, I believe, 4, or Creed 3. So, post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace and love. Make sure you watch this video all the way to the end.